with presence in over 30 states of the Federation. Be sure to be had. For live coverage of events, we have the capacity to deliver from anywhere in Nigeria and beyond. Contact us now on 0803 471 8550 or 0803 724 9733 014 533 407.
Our 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. All eyes on Adamawa. The big question is, who will save Governor Murtala Nyako? Will it be the former head of state alongside with the 8 first-class kings in Adamawa who, as we speak now, are allegedly intervening in the matter? Will it be Mr. President, who Nyako himself said allegedly that they have a cordial relationship? He's been there for him, and for now, Mr. President too can be there for him as the governor. I still have Victor Okai in the studio. Thank you very much for staying the course of the show. One would think that Adamawa State, that is presently fighting insurgency, would be more united, you know, the executive alongside with the lawmaker. What do you make of this division at the government level at this time?
Well, although there's insurgency in Adamawa, it's not as serious as, I mean, obviously one stays under emergency rule, but it's not as serious as what you find in the other states, particularly
Borno.
Yeah, Borno and Yobe. Yeah. But nevertheless, I mean, it's still like the rest of the nation is still under siege. But what you find in this case is politicians have self-interest, and the insurgency for them is one that threatens their position, you know, and so the storm that you see, they do not care about what happens to the general public. They're more interested in self-preservation first. If they survive, then they can worry about what's happening to the people, unfortunately. I mean, at a time like this, you would expect them to put aside all partisan or, you know, selfish interests and things and work towards, you know, fighting the insurgents. But that's far from the case. So the Boko Haram they know now is a political Boko Haram, you know, and that's what they're fighting from their various selfish angles. So that's just the case.
You saw what happened in Kano the moment Lamido Sanusi was announced as the king, the street riots and how it affect peace and tranquility in that region. Some are also saying that there is this ethno-religious sensitivity that surround the nature of this impeachment saga in Adamawa, and many are calling on leadership not to allow this impeachment to happen for the sake of peace and security in that region. How do you react to that?
Unfortunately, these are not enlightened, it's not an enlightened view. If you know Adamawa very well, there's an almost equal mix of Christians and Muslims. And I think the level of tolerance there is much more than you find in some of the other states. If you find any serious cases of religious intolerance, you find it from people coming from outside the state. There have not been any serious known cases of religious crisis in Adamawa State. I mean, it's like what happens in the Southwest here, where you have within a family Christians and Muslims, you know, cohabiting together. In Adamawa, it's the same. You know, you have an almost equal percentage of Christians and Muslims. So, yes, you might find people who may want to throw up the religious card and all that. Again, as happens all the time, for very selfish, you know, reasons. But I don't think that's going to cause any problem. There have been calculations, of course, on if this happens, that happens, if this happens, that happens, and all that. But the situation on ground right now, I think the man is more unpopular than anybody's religion in Adamawa State.
Let's look at how all of these can impact on the 2015 elections. There's been a lot of talks as regards PDP trying to hold on to some states, APC accusing the big party, especially what happened in Kano. There's been a lot of talks as regards the intention of the ruling party to destabilize political structure in the APC states.
Every party will employ whatever advantage it has. The political sphere is how do I put it? Who was it that made this statement? He said, I can't quite remember, but let me quote it. He said, war is politics. Is it politics with bloodshed, and politics is war without bloodshed, okay? And in this particular case, there's a battle going on. What is at the heart of it? The heart and soul of the people through whatever mandate and however they're able to get it. There's no one party that is playing it so clean. Whatever advantage, whether through propaganda, through rigging, through whatever means, all parties, especially the two major parties, are equally guilty. And so they will deploy and employ all means. You will recall what happened during the Ekiti elections when a certain section of the media was used to propagate a story about a certain expired rice, being given. Of course, that story was never truly substantiated, but it came up just almost on the eve of the election, or 2 days before the election, when there won't be enough time to do damage control and all that. It was meant as a propaganda thing to damage a certain candidate. Okay? So these are dirty means with which they employ anything to gain an advantage. It doesn't make it ethically or morally right, but none of the parties is clean. So going towards 2015, all parties are employing whatever advantage they can gain to get the numbers, towards getting the heart and soul of the electorate.
Let's check out what Abubakar Duke has to say. He is sending us this from Abuja. Okay. Nyako should remember that a good name is better than anything. If you had been a man of integrity, no one would torment you.
True.
You know how you go to that position, and what goes around comes around. I advise you to go appear before the court, period. That's coming from Duke. Thank you for your...
I assume that Abubakar is from that area, and he certainly knows what he's talking about.
Well, then, what does all of this portend for the quality of politics that will play in Nigeria?
Okay, I will underline the word play, as opposed to the quality of politics in Nigeria. Well, what it portends, I also draw references from Ekiti, is that every table depends on its leg to stand. If we ignore the leg because the main activity is on the tabletop, any tabletop that ignores its legs will invariably crumble. That's what's playing out right now. It happened in Ekiti. If you forget that you are standing on legs, the legs will give way and you will collapse. The same thing is happening to Nyako. I think, when people get power drunk and then they tend to forget that they are there by the grace of, if you like, the legs that you may not see, that they seem unimportant, And so if you ignore the legs, at your peril.
But then this idea of a game of numbers, you hear certain people have defected from one party to the other. We saw in the last general election, APC winning gubernatorial elections in Lagos and PDP winning presidential election in the same state. One would wonder the role of these stakeholders, perhaps call them governors or ministers, whatever, the senators, changing from one party to the other. Do they really have a say as regards the decision of the people at the polls?
Let me use Lagos as an example. It was the case of the people also deciding what they wanted. There are on two fronts. In the one case, I won't say don't trust politicians, but when a politician's interest is his own selfish interest. And you can't judge him on that because obviously he got there. A lot of them get there. They claim to serve, but to serve themselves first, because until they serve themselves, they cannot serve the public. If they don't get there, they can't serve the public. So it's important to understand how the politician's mind works. And so you'll find a situation where Lagos could have been traded off. Okay?
Could have.
Yes, could have been traded off. It could have been a case of scratch my back and scratch your back. Unless, I said that on two fronts. One, the people know what they want, in which case they decide, okay, fine. You at the governorship level, we're okay with you, we're cool with you. But at the presidential level, sorry, that's not who I want as my president.
How enlightened do you think Nigerians are now as we count down to 2015?
As Nigerians are becoming increasingly more enlightened. You will excuse me for going back to Ekiti time and time again.
It's all right.
I think people now have now decided that, I mean, people now, time was when we used to think that, you know, if you just give a dog a bone, you can, you can have your way. You know, right now, if you bring your bag of rice, if you bring your money, they will collect, take it as their own share, but it will not influence their decision at the end of the day. Because people have since realized that not all politicians can be trusted, and that politicians will use you to ride to power and after that dump you.
Just a minute, Victor. Adebayo Adeoye from Lagos. This is the reason why Nigeria is in this state. Some people believe they are above the law. Nyako shot himself in the foot by converting the state's money to personal and family use and control. Thank you, Adebayo, for your contribution.
Again, the table and the leg.
But then, you know, many were hopeful when we had about 5 PDP governors defected to APC and quite a number of members of the House of Reps that Nigeria was moving towards a two-party system. Would you call this decimation? We saw it happen in Ekiti, a possibility of it happening in Adamawa. Do you see it affect the chances of the opposition?
Yeah, what is most important, and this is where I think the opposition got it wrong and just grabbed at a mirage. You know, movement of people, you know, you have to, the way to calculate in politics is different from the way you calculate mathematically. Synergy is what works in politics. And how does it work? Synergy is obviously where you, like, you can add 1 and 1, you get 5. It's not American Wonder or magic. No. What it simply means is, you see, the governors that defect may not actually be the power brokers or the power base.
In those states.
Of all the governors that defected, the only one I'm quite confident that truly moved with people is Governor Saraki, Bukola Saraki.
In your own opinion?
My own opinion. Because he has a firm grip. Kwankwaso is another person like that. He has a firm grip of the politics and of the people. He has supporters on ground. And when he moves with his people. Okay? Where individuals move, you need to ask yourself, is there a godfather? If the godfather has not moved, whoever moves is on his own. You just have numbers. Okay? But when godfathers move, the move is geometric. You understand what I'm saying? It's, the multiplication of the, you know, the movement is geometric. That one that moves could equal 10,000, 1 million or more. It's like an Adedibu, for instance, a late Adedibu in Oyo State. If an Adedibu moves, it's not an individual. You can be sure that he's moving an army with him. Okay? So the way it is, you know, the euphoria of, okay, this governor moves, like what happened in Rivers. No matter what you say, I can assure you that the governor and the few legislators and the commissioners and those who went with him, they are strictly on their own. You know?
Just a minute. Banke Akiode from Ilaro. Nyako is gradually finding his way back to PDP. He just realized APC cannot help him solve his problems. Is there any possibility of that happening?
Well, unfortunately for, excuse my use of the word, the poor man. I don't mean it in terms of, we know he has been accused of stealing or misappropriating a lot of money. The allegations so far. But unfortunately for him, this was the time I thought the party would stand up for him and defend him and go all out and say no matter what, we're by you.
You think that's not happening?
If it's not happening openly, I don't know how else. Well, how best how else they could do it that could be better than that. You know, if people are supporting me quietly and they're not bold enough to come openly, I might just be on my own.
Is there any possibility of him returning to the PDP?
Nyako is a very proud man, but he's also a politician. So these politicians are unpredictable. You know, if his life depends on it, when I say life now, it's political life, his economic life, is if it depends on it, he might. I mean, you've heard what he said, just quickly. He said, it has not got to that stage yet, the stage of talking to the president. So if it just...
Ibilibor
pregnant statement.
From Owerri, did they commit an impeachable offense or not? Can the presidency manipulate the law to prevent justice? Or is it being victimized? It looks like when big men break the law in Nigeria, they discuss it over dinner and resolve it amicably. But when common people break the law, they are hanged. And you know, that is really disturbing, because you talk about 20 allegations. I mean, the list is here endless. You talk about billions of taxpayers' money, and not much is being focused on the allegation as much as the political calculation of the stakeholders.
Exactly,
involved.
which was what I was saying. How do you want to say, how do you even expect the president to intervene in a matter like this? Should he interfere with the judicial process, with the investigation? The allegations are too weighty. The only thing he can do is go there and clear his name. Any other way, even the president, I mean, even I would ask the president why, you know. Nyako unfortunately allowed it to get to this point. He probably should have seen the handwriting on the wall. But I guess when you are in certain positions, your head is above the cloud, and so you don't know what is happening down below. That's what has happened in this case.
Joseph Adams from Yola, how can we fight corruption in this country? There is an allegation that one man is found wanting. A process has been set for him to defend himself because he's a governor, or the highly placed people in the nation are conniving to thwart the effort. Would you say, you know, Victor, that it is morally right for the governor to boycott the request coming from the 7-man panel for him to answer certain questions?
If he had nothing to hide, it would not be avoiding the panel. He's trying to buy time. He's trying to lobby directly and indirectly. I think he's fighting for a survivor right now. The panel is a list of his problems.
Initially, it was a case that I was not personally served the notice of impeachment.
But even all that he knows is just, you know, all that is, you know, all that can't save him, obviously.
Well, someone said, one of our viewers said earlier about the possibility of him going back to the PDP. As it is now, the deputy governor is with the PDP, and the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Fintiri, too, is also of the PDP. Now, if this impeachment proceedings goes on and it becomes successful, that means the Speaker directly or indirectly becomes the acting governor, or the governor, so to speak, of that state. How feasible is Nyako's mobility back to PDP, you know, going to assure his possibility of winning this case?
The best he can get is a soft landing. Maybe the issue will go to the courts, drag on, and after many years, it will be Mohammed Abacharized. You know, you know, or something like that. They know how to do these things. But we'll have to wait and see. They are politicians. They know how to play these games. But I think it's a little too late in the day.
Martin Bala from Adamawa. Well, we have someone from the state. The Speaker is crying foul now. He's even angry with the leadership of his party because they promised him the seat of the governor of Adamawa State. The game plan has changed, and the PDP wants the deputy to take over, which means that the Speaker will become ordinary floor member in the State Assembly. I was telling you about that earlier, that the Speaker of the House and the deputy governor are from the same local government. So if the deputy becomes the governor, it means the Speaker would have to step down and become an ordinary member at the floor of the House of Assembly. So this is far more becoming...
No, but I said something about politicians earlier on. the insurgency they are facing right now is that of self-preservation, selfish interest. Okay, the speaker is probably not fighting because he has the best interest of the state at heart. He's fighting for his own selfish interest, which is why both the governor and the deputy governor are the ones that are, being tried. Now, I think suddenly I can see a light bulb, a way out for Nyako. Maybe, if he's a good boy, they'll give him a soft landing. You resign, will not push through the charges, okay? Let the deputy take over, and we'll forget this case. Maybe.
Leadership in Nigeria. We begin to wonder how all of this affect the quality of leadership that we have. But just before that, this is Kola West from Rivers. Yes, I support Nyako Dot to appear to the kangaroo panel that was arranged by Jonathan and his PDP. They have used the speaker, promised him to be the next governor, and dump him at the end. What has Nyako done that other politicians have not done? And that issue comes up every time we discuss. For instance, we discuss 5G and someone says the allegations that were brought against him are just allegations that any governor in Nigeria at that particular time could fall for.
Look at it this way. There's a general statement. I use the word general because that's what it is. That everyone, of course not everyone is, but that everyone is a thief. It is only the one that is brought before, the one that is caught or brought before the court that, is an accused or that is, So in this particular case, of course we are aware about the looting of treasuries, from the local government councils, through the states, through the legislative arms and all of that, and the ministries, parastatals and departments. We know about all these things and all the agencies. So usually, if you're a good boy, people just close their eyes and pretend not to see. When you become a bad boy, your dossier will be brought up, dusted, I will be presented before you to whip you into line. And if you're obstinate, if you're stubborn, then the law will take its course. Unfortunately, this has been the case, not just today, not just yesterday, but over a long time in our democracy.
Is it a problem of personality or a problem of system? Some have said that the challenge of leadership in Nigeria is accidental leadership. But just before that, Moka Godwin from Ilorin, Nyako should apologize to the president and publish the apology on the pages of newspapers. If he did this, if he does this, he will be back Jonathan. It will back Jonathan into a corner, because if he's not impeached, people will say it's because of the apology. If he's impeached, people will say Jonathan is vindictive. But then, away from that... that guy's a Machiavellian mind. Sorry, apologies, Walker. But moving away from that, this issue of... achieving quality leadership in Nigeria, what will it take? Some said that we've not really had people who genuinely want to lead. Because, for instance, now, if you remove the governor and put the deputy, whether you like it or not, is another case of accidental leadership, just like we had with Goodluck Jonathan, our own president. You have a deputy who was not prior to this time prepared to be a governor. You have probably a speaker who accidentally becomes one. What exactly are we not getting it right in this process?
I personally don't have a problem with so-called accidental leadership. For instance, if I saw leadership qualities in you, although you were not thinking about it, and I think you can maybe head the station, for instance, you may not have been thinking about it, but I've seen the qualities. I might invite you, and you get in there. It does not mean you cannot do the job. I don't have a problem with accidental leadership. What I have a problem with is, if you have a job, then do the job well. Do we have people who are willing? I mean, you can scheme to get a job, not necessarily because you're good, but probably because you want to go there and steal, because you want to go there and loot. So being that you badly want a job does not necessarily mean you will do the job well. So I don't have a problem with that. But what I think we should do is, our leaders, we should be looking out for people who have leadership qualities. And the thing is, when good people refuse to take part in politics, then this is what results. That's what you get. Then the bad people take over, and you have no moral right to complain. If you feel badly enough about it, and you think you're a good material, then go into politics.
One of the allegations brought up against Nyako is abuse of office and violation of Adamawa state law by appointing his wife, Dr. Halima Nyako, as chairman Adamawa State Action Committee on AIDS, the SACA, contrary to SACA law, overbearing, strangulation of the local government areas, and extortion of local government funds in the name of joint accounts projects, and it goes on and on like that. Is there anything wrong in bringing your wife as chairman of one of the MDAs, or, you know, so to speak? I mean, we've seen that happen almost everywhere, the involvement of first ladies in government.
Not to this extent. The problem is I know of cases where in some companies, for instance, I know a particular case, this one I know properly, where a man was appointed managing director of a company, and the wife who was head of HR had to give up her job, unfortunately. She had to leave the company.
And that was the company policy.
Yes, she had to leave. Even if it was not, sometimes, unless you own the company, ethically sometimes, you know, it creates a bit of a problem. It may not be the best, but you do it not necessarily because there's anything against her being, she may be the best qualified, but you also want to protect yourself, protect her or the other people, and not be seen to be, you can't be a monopoly of it all. You can't say you have searched so far and wide and you cannot find
another person
another
apart
qualified
from your wife.
person apart from your wife. And in his case, it wasn't just his wife. He has, I mean, part of the problem is that he wants his son to take over.
As governor of the
Yes,
state.
yes. Part of the allegation.
Owokoma Emeka from Lagos, Nyako was dancing Surugede dance for ages without knowing that Surugede dance was the dance of the spirits. He has awoken the chief priest now because of his recklessness. And who knows what the chief priest might demand from him to appease the gods.
Nigerians are creative. So aptly put.
And you know, we become more creative when issues like this happen.
Yeah.
Well then, as we begin to round up now, we are looking at the lessons that politicians might want to pick one or two to learn from this issue arising in Adamawa.
Well, however it ends, it started first in Ekiti. I keep referring to that. Now it's Adamawa, we don't know where next. But the thing is, never, ever take the electorate for granted. Never take the people who put you in power for granted, because indeed, you're only representing people. There are so many other people qualified. Not all of us can be in government house at the same time. That we have chosen you to be there should make you humble, okay? You should go there and serve the people, okay? But the minute you get there and forget that you're there because of the people, and then you begin to think you're there because you're qualified, you're there because you are better than other people, you're there because you are so good, then obviously you would have started the Surugede dance.
And you don't know what the chief priest might
demand for you to appease the gods.
You. As all of these developments arise, and as we begin to count down to the 2015 election, some have also said that the people, you know, the electorate, have a chance again to determine the move of governance in Nigeria, the direction that it will go. But just before that question, Oyediran Akin from Ibadan, I guess Nyako is just getting to understand the meaning of the saying that he who lives in a glass house should not throw stones. When he was insulting the president and writing letters, he never imagined days like this would come. Akin, thank you for your contribution.
That is another lesson. If you live in a glass house, don't throw stones.
How involved do you think Nigerians can be in the electoral process, in determining who leads again as we have elections in 2015?
No, I think by and large, power is returning to the people. It was Fayed that talked about power to the people. So I think power is returning to the people. People now realize that their votes can and will count, and they are now beginning to realize that they are king and queen, if you like. And so they're using it. There is no longer, like you say, in business, they talk about a seller's market or a buyer's market. In this particular case, customer is king, you know, and we are, as politicians are falling, they permit my use of the word yakata now on a daily basis, and these shockers are happening. You find more and more politicians eating corn in public and
riding motorcycles.
They'll now begin to look more and more like the rest of us. Before, they were putting their heads in the cloud and talking down to the rest of us who are not in government. All that is beginning to change, and I think we're beginning to realize our power. You soon begin to see now, I think even the average Okada rider is beginning to realize now that when elections are coming, they cannot be ignored anymore. Politicians begin to court them, and they now know that politicians cannot take them for granted anymore. So if you use the Okada rider as a metaphor for the average Nigerian, then you know that we have power, and indeed we can use them when the time comes.
Prince Omerin from Abuja, why the desperation to impeach Governor Nyako? Ghana must go in action. MCR, did I still have more before I round up the show?
It's all right. We're going to have some phone calls.
Oh, yes, we will. I know that we have a lot of people calling. We really do apologize for not picking your calls. It's because of the quality of network that we have now. But we sure will do that tomorrow. Saliu Magui from Yola. Anyone moving to save Nyako from being impeached is also a corrupt person who is not sensitive to the suffering.
I've never seen.
Who is not sensitive to the sufferings of the Adamawa people? We have suffered untold hardships at his hands. Go, Nyako, go. There are better people around.
Well, the groundswell of opinion you can see. So obviously, not even the president can save this one.
Well, another one, Dapo Shogbola from Lagos. Even a political former head of state like General Abdulsalami Abubakar asks that the lawmakers take action. His views should be respected. That's a general Nigerians must respect. Impeachment at this time may not be the best option. Dapo, thank you for your contribution. Victor, thank you very much for staying the course of the show today. I told you earlier that the governor of Adamawa State, Murtala Nyako, is a man of many firsts. He became the very first youngest naval officer to captain the ship at the age of 24, as well as the first politician since 1999 to get the governorship ticket without a primary election, and lasted almost 2 terms in office. Some also have called him the first governor to run Adamawa State without a substantive chief judge for over 3 years. The big question is, will he also be the very first governor to be impeached based strictly on allegations of gross misconduct since the return of democracy in 1999? Well, it looks as if the destiny of Murtala Nyako lies on the shoulders of the 7-man panel headed by the acting chief judge as we speak now, who are asking questions alongside the allegations against him. He survived it once in 2008. Will he survive it again? Well, only time will tell. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye, and I'm out of here. Join us again at the top of the hour for the news. Don't go away.
Core TV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, people's parliaments from the national, state and local government assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station